tonight we are, I mean, this is, how do I put it? We on automatic in terms of, the rifling, the weaponry we use in the night. We're just going all out. And what we're going to do is cover and debunk a number of different myths about Black men. And I wanted to get BGS up in here with me to do it because it's a lot more fun, for one, to bounce off good brother when we're talking about it. But there's a lot of info to cover. So I wanted to kind of get that in. So let me start. Okay. So this one is real simple. This is a breakdown of Black faculty in colleges.
Okay.
And the reason this is important is when we talk about, and I said this in my last show, I talked about how Black feminism is reproduced because what we see in the academy is an overwhelming number of girls and women that are going into higher education. And, I talked about this in terms of Grambling University. I talked about this in terms of Howard. But we could talk about predominantly white institutions as well. When it comes to Black folk going to school, we know that since 1976, Black men have half the degrees Black women have. It is what it is. Black men have found other ways to make money. But here's the problem. It's not just that they found other ways to make money. It's that we were pushed out of academics in K through 12. And we were forced to find other ways to make money. It's not an accident that you have over 90% female teachers at some grade levels.
Right. So
this has a correlation to how students perform that nobody wants to talk about. And boys across race end up performing more poorly than girls. And in that, Black boys at the bottom of that list. So I don't have a problem if Black men didn't want to go to college. That would be fine. But that's not what's happening. Black men are being pushed out. Black boys are being pushed out before they even get started. They tried to put my son in special ed in kindergarten.
Mine too.
Kindergarten. Yeah.
Mine too.
And this boy was reading 700-page Harry Potter books in the first and second grade. And they wanted to put him in special ed. And they would have succeeded if I wasn't at the campus as often as I am, because I had more time than the average working Black family, Black parent. I had time. Whenever they, fucked with him, I got time today. I'll show up. But I noticed how many other Black kids didn't have the luxury of parents that could drop what they were doing and show up on the spot.
Yeah.
So had I not had that kind of structure, he might have been routed into special ed. They didn't have a problem with doing it. But I bring this chart up because it shows you the number of Black faculty, right? So this is 2011, but this was the study that I know that showed the percentage of Black faculty in higher education. So you'll notice this is Black women. Well, this is Asian, Black, Hispanic, and white, but and American Indian, Alaska Native. But we're going to look at Black women. There's about 70,375 faculty, or that's the number, and that's the total number. So 70,375 Black female faculty on college campuses. So remember that number, 70,375. This is Black men. 47,651.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So when we talk about 70,000 versus 47,000, the way this plays out, you got, what is it? Howard has 70% of its population Black female.
Yeah.
When you have a preponderance of Black girls and women going into higher education, and then a preponderance of those women who are primarily the faculty there. Yes, there was, at least in terms of 2011, there was a higher percentage of Black males who were tenured.
Right.
Slightly higher. So you got 7,776 Black males who are tenured, fully tenured, like myself. And then you have, I'm associate, but anyway, then you have 6,681 Black females. A lot of that, I think, has to do with child rearing. Yeah. Whatnot. But at the end of the day, and this is what feminists will focus on, there are more men that are tenured. That's what they'll tell you. But they won't tell you that there are over 20,000 more Black professors, Black female professors than male. And when you factor that in with the percentage of Black women and girls who are going to college as opposed to their men, now you have a preponderance of Black women in a higher educational space. That supposedly translates to white collar employment and even into politics. Right? How many politicians don't at least have a college degree? And this is the jumping off point for being able to move in the white collar world. This is happening primarily amongst women and girls in a way that's not happening for boys and men. And this is something we need to focus on. So I wanted you guys to know, according to the only study I'm aware of on the actual numbers of Black faculty and staff, Black men are about 23,000 fewer in higher education. I want you guys to have that information, right? Anyway, so just to kind of put that out there, that speaks to why we see feminism so rapidly and rampantly spreading in higher education. Because it's not just that it's primarily girls that are going, it's also that those who are teaching them, especially if they're Black, are overwhelmingly women. When you start to factor in their ideology, feminism translates much easier among that population. And you can see why you'll have Black male faculty that will acquiesce to the dominant feminist ideology because they are outnumbered.
Outnumbered, yeah.
If you try to get hired in a university, guess who's sitting on the hiring committee? Look at the numbers.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get a job, especially if you're in Africana Studies, Black Studies, often the majority of the people on the hiring committee are going to be those who are in the highest percentages.
Yeah.
They're going to be women.
You would think they would, because they know the plight of Black men, they would be more patient and more giving to Black men. But it's not the case.
No, this has become a political coup for Black women. And what they're doing is they're tying together the different spaces where they can exact that particular that coup. So higher education, we're starting to see a higher preponderance of Black women in politics, going in and going for office. Whatever space you see that is predominantly female, they are operationalizing and politicizing to advance themselves.
Yeah.
They are not opening the door for Black people. They are opening the door for themselves.
For Black women. Yeah. Well, they would consider Black people, Black women, and children.
Exactly. Black males are on their own.
Black males are on their own. Yeah.
Even when and the thing that trips me out about this is a lot of these women don't have sons.
Yeah, till he's 18, then he becomes a Black male.
Oh man, I can tell you, I can give you the names of feminists who will, in their own cities, set up Black girl magic organizations for young women and girls, and they don't even have daughters, but will have 2 sons, both of whom are homeless, strung out on drugs, dropped out of school, but she's setting up Black Girl Rocks organizations for girls she doesn't even have in her household.
Oh, she needs to find a wife, a working wife for her sons.
And then if you look at it in terms of entrepreneurship, one of the things you'll tend to find is Black women will set up businesses that primarily cater to each other.
Yes.
They will literally set up businesses where their primary customer is other Black women. And of course, we know over 99% of Black women's businesses have 1 employee, so their focus is only on each other. Black men actually have more businesses, even though they're not credited for it, but we don't tend to get federal or philanthropic support.
No. Yeah, Black men tend to have trades, okay? And we don't list our trade or our hustle or our independent self-employment work as a business.
Right.
Yeah, I do plumbing, I do drywall, I fix on houses. It's not a business, it's more like a hustle. But it's women listed as a business.
Women listed as a business, absolutely. But even when it is a business, or we acknowledge it as such, you don't often hear these Black men say this is a Black-owned business, or this is a Black male-owned business.
Yeah.
And I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, my assumption is that we don't get any props for it being Black male-owned. If it's Black female-owned, it's celebrated.
Yeah. It's celebrated, yeah. A Black male-owned is almost like a kiss of death.
Exactly, which provides no incentive for Black men to want to go out there and scream to the heavens that we have a Black-owned business.
Oh no.
If anything, a lot of brothers just put their head down, keep pushing, do the work.
Yep.
And you'll notice that when you look at like the title of their business, if it's something completely void, it'll just be something that sounds real generic. Them brothers know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's no benefit that they get for pointing it out. They don't get a benefit for that.
Yeah, kiss of death. Black male business. Yeah.